Chair.
Here.
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Ms. Brown Knight.
I
Dr.
just,
Lewis.
I just texted her. I asked her if she, so.
Are they
She hasn't responded yet. I mean, it just hit send.
All right, Mrs. Rankin.
Here.
Mr. York.
Here.
All right. All right, tonight's pre-meeting here, the meeting in front of the regular council meeting, of course, is to go over the capital spending budget. Kelly, I'm going to let you lead off,
Thank you.
and y'all have the handouts, I'm assuming.
Right? Y'all have the handout?
Yes.
Don't all say yes at once.
Don't answer all at once.
Don't answer all at once.
Yeah, so,
Do we want to text Marcy or?
so Susan has said she is on her way. She
Okay.
says, please start. I'll be there very quickly.
We've already started. The meeting is officially
We
open.
already
Yeah.
started. Okay, so just to clarify, the exercise that we're going to go through now, it's for temporary appropriations. Okay, so basically the exercise that we need to go through tonight is determine what projects we're going to commit to at the beginning of the year. Okay, obviously, we can't appropriate everything on this because we're at a deficit. So we need to go through and pick the items on here that we are going to temporarily appropriate to get us through at least the first quarter. Because what we'll do is I'll have a permanent improvement meeting in March when we have a better handle on our resources, like grants, contributions, a whole other things that can affect the resources that we have to spend for the year. But in order for us to start 2024, we have to have money appropriated. For example, if we want to go buy some stuff for the concourse to work on a concourse, we have to be able to open a purchase order. We have to have appropriations to issue that purchase order.
But it's January, February, March spending that we're really.
Yes, stuff that we know that right out of the gate, we want to be able to do.
What
in
about ordering the
2024.
police cars?
Well, I think, along that note, I think that things we know absolutely we're going to do, we need to deal with that tonight.
Well, I mean, I'm asking that because ordering is not spending.
Correct.
Yeah.
But in order to issue a purchase order, we have to have it
Have it.
appropriated.
But.
So maybe the way I'm sorry,
No,
I'm
go
just going to
ahead.
say this, maybe the way we look at it right now is since we've got a placeholder in here for 2, we'll make it 1, in case we want to get it ordered, because what we'll do, again, is we'll have funds to appropriate permanently, hence permanent appropriations, come March.
Okay.
Who's going? Both of you look like you want to say something.
No, I think that's fine. Yeah, I like your proposal about that, because when you were helping educate me about this stuff, about how it's really just, at this stage, it's just January, February, March spending that we need to make a decision on. That there's a lot of stuff in here that we just have placeholders, and we need to get better details about what the actual spend. And there's also the actual, we'll know by the end of the year how much actual carryover cash we have in each one of these funds, versus now it's, we don't know for sure. So
Right.
we'll have a lot more detail that'll help us in March to make a final decision. So tonight's
Right,
just,
and-
just JFM.
And as you can see, let's, if you want to, we can walk through the document right now. And again, these numbers are based on figures that the Hamilton County Auditor has provided us with. So, like if you go down to the purchase orders, we are carrying forward 2 open purchase orders. So those are previously allocated funds. So you see the one for Watkins Electric, the electricity in the median. Purchase order has a balance of 22.6. Maybe come time, it's only $20,000. But right now, we have to keep a placeholder in there for what the purchase order's for. We're not revising purchase orders at this point in the year.
Okay.
And then that A359 design for admin office, that's also an open purchase order, 2.7 thousand. Go ahead.
You understand, of course, that 2.7, that's a credit that we have with them. That's a credit.
I was not aware of that.
I'm sorry,
that
I
was-
thought we had that
Okay.
discussion. I thought Rob and I had the discussion.
But don't we have, so we don't have an open purchase order with them to do design?
Yeah, we do, because
But it hasn't.
I met with them again, and of course, I'm applying the credit, but the new work that they're doing on the office is going to come in around what was the figure? I forget now, 5,500, something like that.
5,500?
Was that the number?
5,500?
Yes.
So this 2.7 that's in here right now, is that the difference between the quote and the credit? Because the purchase
Well,
orders,
I guess it could be, actually.
yeah, I think that might be the case.
Yeah, that might be the case. And that would make sense, yes.
Let's go with that.
Okay, let's go with that. Well, just so you know, that, I mean, we did have that credit, and we're only. yeah,
Sure,
okay.
sure.
Yeah.
So, but this is I mean, you can't have a negative purchase order. So whatever the purchase order's open for, sounds like it's between the amount and the credit.
Okay.
Okay.
So the question is, which one of these are we going to do in January, February, March, right?
Right.
For sure.
So we can go through them one by one if you want to.
Sure.
Okay, so police car, we've allocated for 2 cars. Rick, we might more than likely have that money, but I can't put in appropriation.
I can understand.
So, do you want to take it down to 1?
Well, until.
Or do you want-
We had the money, right?
Yeah, and then you can always add a second
Right.
one, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Because obviously, we know we're in dire need of 2.
Right.
But, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. Now, Rob, before we were at 140 for the 2, because there were about 70 each, but then you were gonna take more out of the.
Alcohol education and enforcement.
Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we're, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's gonna pay the rest of it then.
Right.
Well, is the 120 then the net for 2?
Yeah, because I think we had, I'm going back to.
Well, 120 plus, he's gonna take the other, we're gonna take the other 20 out of the,
For the outfitting,
Yeah,
right?
for the out.
It's about 10,000 to outfit it?
it's more than that, it was.
Yeah, we,
We just paid, no, it was the graphic bill we just paid, so. Yeah, I think it was, Kel, I think it was like, or Mrs. Rankin, I think it was like 14.
You don't have to do that. Freak me out.
So you have-
She's the fiscal officer.
we had 140,000 for the 2 cars.
Okay.
That was
All right.
all in. And then, and that included everything, but 30 of it was going to be paid from the alcohol education and enforcement fund.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna have each of those numbers.
So which numbers are you cutting in half?
The 110.
The police line to 2020, well, it says 2023. I don't know what year we're gonna get.
So
But
that
in
goes
some-
to 60?
2024, and
We
it's
go
a
to
shed-
60
it's
and
a
then
shed
55
pile,
and
not
then-
a 44. Yeah, but I don't know that that matters for this.
So instead of
Change
100,
that to a Chevrolet Tahoe.
so instead of 110, you're going to put 55, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
60 and 55.
We should make the number to the left 110 also, instead of 120, to make it match. We're not going to be planting any trees in January, February, March,
No,
right?
we're not.
So we can hold on that.
What about, does tree trimming come under perm?
Tree trimming is paid from John's
Budget
budget.
thing? Okay, because we do want to do some tree trimming in January and February, right?
Right, but that wouldn't be
Well-
permanent improvement.
Right ahead.
Yeah, you may not actually be there, but we've had the discussion, and we were talking about, getting a better rate on it and so on and so forth. Yeah, okay.
The municipal building cleanup, this was the HVAC system stuff? You remember that?
The 10, is that,
Yeah.
is,
The HVAC. stuff.
that's HVAC for the service department, is that what that 10 is? I don't know why it's called municipal building.
No, it was also in the basement. We said we were fixing that part, right?
Oh,
We've sort of had that looked at already. I mean, the MSC people, that we have a contract with, I mean, they've gone down there and given a look-see. I'm not really sure that it's in any immediate need of service
Right, okay.
beyond. And then the 10 for the maintenance facility, that's a big number.
We had, oh, no, that's not there. This is maintenance building cleanup. This says municipal building cleanup. Those are 2 different things.
right.
I think that may be a typo, Kelly.
The
Yeah,
munis,
it's maintenance.
It's the maintenance.
That's what it
building.
was in this 2024
okay, yeah.
document.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that was the HVAC system
So
for the
that's the
maintenance
maintenance
building,
building.
instead of municipal.
So it really is maintenance building HVAC. And Bill, it may be a big number, but it might not be as big as you think. And I think we might want to get that done in January through March.
Possibly, yeah. Mhm.
So I would recommend we leave that on there.
Okay, all right, yeah.
If it fits.
It'll probably fit.
Well, in between now and then, we can get a better estimate
Right.
for it.
Yep,
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah,
That's true, that's a good point, Bill, because that's true of a lot of these
Yeah,
things. We should be
exactly.
trying to get better estimates for a lot of
Right,
these things.
right.
So the front end?
The
front loader
backhoe?
backhoe? We're not going to buy that in January, February, March, are we? Is that, Bill?
And I
Because
guess-
you and John were going to be
Well,
working on that, right?
we-
There's a chance.
There's a chance
Oh, there
because
is.
he has been looking. I told him to start with pricing.
The guy does have stuff in stock, all ready to go, and he said he'd come down and give us a bid on
Ours?
ours, see what, he's gonna evaluate the whole thing, so.
Okay.
And give us a price on that.
Because remember what we built into this, the longer term, the 5-year budget was
Yes.
120,000 for the cost, minus 30,000 for selling what we got.
Right,
And the
So that's-
clock's ticking on what we have,
so.
so we should pull the trigger.
Well, we'll see how he comes up with, what price he comes up with. Otherwise, just put it in the auction with the truck and the other stuff, because the old farmers love that equipment and stuff, so you may even get more off of that. So, because like our old trucks that we had that had no floorboards,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, those were going for $5,000 to $7,000. And the Gator, the John Deere Gator we had,
Yeah.
that we bought 8,000, sold for 6,
Yeah.
and that was 15, 16 years old. So-
Well, how some of those guys like to
Yeah.
use it and stuff. Well,
So-
we can be in contact with one another. I know occasionally you will take my call. So when the guy, so when the guy is coming, I definitely want to be there to talk to him about.
He's got high hopes. So, but yeah, I'll get with you
Yeah.
before I leave.
But
So should we build it in for-
To the
Yeah.
point,
Could
this is
happen.
what, and to Randy's point, I do think this is something we want to kind of be moving ahead with.
So we're leaving that in?
Do we want, and we want the full 47.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Well, that
it was actually 90, because remember, this was, the reason we had 47.5 is because there was 42.5 last year, 47.5 this year.
Right.
That 42.5 is up in that 202.9 at the top. That's going to be part of the
Oh, right.
cash that's going to be
Right.
carried forward.
So it needs to say 90.
So it needs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct. They really should say 90, because that's what we're going to actually spend, but some of the cash we're carrying over is part of what we set aside for that.
Yeah.
A semi-related but quick question, on the back, when we buy a front loader backhoe for more than 50,000, do we have to send that out for public bids?
No.
I don't think so. It's a piece of equipment.
But,
Not-
really? 'Cause I thought,
You-
well, usually, we always say at least to try and get 2 bids, right?
Right.
You're talking to multiple people
Yeah.
about this.
Well,
so-
yeah, I mean, it'd be like
But-
going to
but
buy,
the-
buy your car or something, you're going to get a couple of,
Yeah, but
pricing.
we do have stuff where it says if you spend over 50, we have to go out and advertise it. Right,
Right,
Tony?
but not
I
on
think that's if you
equipment.
enter into a contract.
yeah.
Is what?
I believe that's if you enter into a contract.
contract
Yeah.
to
Okay.
do something.
Most of the equipment you're getting, you're buying on state purchasing.
Okay,
prices,
that answers
so.
my question, thanks.
Okay.
Okay. So yes and JFM and 90,000 is what we have to put. Matt, are we going to do is the pool stuff going to start in January, February, March?
It very well could start in March, yes.
I think that would actually be.
It needs to, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So we want to do both those amounts.
Based upon what you sent today, does this cover you?
Well, the request I put in was 62.2, and this is 60.5. I don't know where the 1.7 went. Oh, the last 2 items maybe got kicked off of permanent improvement items, maybe.
The PA audio system,
Yeah,
what's the $1,000?
that's the price that we will pay for the physical audio
Equipment.
system.
Okay, okay. Water bottle fillers, more than likely gonna come from a grant?
I think it's better than 50%, yes.
And this is the amount that we'd have to kick in, right?
Correct.
So
And
we're-
that's max.
Right. But she needs to appropriate the full amount, and then we're going to get an offset for the grant, so you'd want to bump it up. your ask is really.
3,000.
Bump it 3?
Does that include the install?
Yeah,
It's supposed to.
oh, yeah, the unit's less
Of
than
the
15.
install of the audio?
Okay.
Yeah, Matt knows the guy.
The install and the audio is included, yes.
So we need to add 2,300 to this amount, right?
Yeah, that's a good catch. I'm not thinking that way.
2,300?
On top of the 62,213. So 64,513.
Yeah, I've got it 2 places.
Yeah.
That's for pipes and everything we're talking here, right?
62,213 and what?
And add another 2,300 on top of that for the, because we have to do the gross amount, and then we're going to hope, and if we don't get the grant, we won't
We won't do
do
it.
the water bottle filling
Right.
system, so.
Give me a number, Rob.
64,513?
Yes, correct.
What is required by code? What is that?
What, the ladders are
Oh,
shot,
that,
and then
okay.
we need a couple other items that we don't have.
I got you, okay, I got you. So what we're trying to determine just the things we're going to do in January, February, March for now. When we come back in March and make a full decision about the whole.
Okay, so we're gonna do
Thank
the
you.
full pool,
This is
okay,
360,000
So that
right
53 is now
now.
64.5?
thank
Is that what happened?
yes.
And Randy, to answer your question, does that cover us? Yes, that covers us. It's excluding some other things we'll be asking for after the first of the year that fit into the operating expenses, things that are not permanent improvements, routine repairs like caulking the pool, painting the lines in the lap pool, some other things.
And we're not, and what's the thought behind not repairing the leak or not?
No, that's-
No, that's
That's
included.
in here.
That's the big thing.
Here's the breakdown of the.
I thought it was a hun-
I don't know if you got an opportunity to see it, but it
I have
emailed
not.
the pool breakdown.
I saw you
that
come
Matt
through the
had.
day, yeah. The leak repair I thought was close to 150, I guess is the
No.
point of clarity.
The 150 would be if we did a complete new repiping job and.
Yeah.
That's a complete
After
dig up,
several-
tear out,
after
Right.
repipe.
multiple engineers and our service department lead and other people have looked at it, we have a better solution that involves relining the existing pipe. It's supposed to be good for 50 years.
So you just saved
Or
the
until-
village 100K?
No, I did not know, but it's a lot less than 150.
That's pretty great, thank you.
Then if it doesn't work.
Oh, I
then-
see.
Then I might not be here.
You're
Right.
irreplaceable.
Under promise, over deliver, right? That's the idea.
Exactly.
It's hard to do it when they need the exact numbers. Thank you.
Boathouse, we're not going to do in January, February, March, right? We're not even going to know until February if we get the grant.
Correct. We're not going to do that in that timeframe.
Okay, fire hydrant painting. Randy, I'm not sure how that's tying into the Centennial
Well,
Fund.
it started with the streetlights, and it was kind of transferred to Public Works and May.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna leave that in there.
But we're not going to do it in January, February. Isn't it a little cold to be painting?
Yeah.
I don't, that's a question I would put to Static All Pro, because they might wanna do it in March.
I think it has to be 50 degrees.
Yeah, it's
50
got to,
degrees?
yeah.
Yeah, I think we should not build it in for January, February, March. Again, we're going
Okay.
to come back at the end of March and make the decision, right? About what's the final cut.
Okay. Concourse.
The concourse, that's probably a fairly good number. What we're going to be doing there is essentially buying the cedar, and we will be able to actually work on the cedar, cutting the pieces, so on and so forth, probably at the maintenance facility if somehow I can set up, some kind of a mini little shop down there kind of a thing.
I'm sure they're gonna make lots of room down there.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
We won't actually be installing it
open arm?
because in the cold weather, but
We need the 45K in this budget, though.
For the-
Or at least,
We're
I
going to
think
spend
the-
it in January, February, March, is what you're saying.
well, I think that if we did it right, we built in enough for tree removal and tuck pointing too in that 45. So we
Well-
might only spend 35 in the first
yeah, but
3
there's
months.
going to be some tools and bits and
That too,
miscellaneous
yep.
things like that, and those things are a little bit expensive. 45 is probably a good number,
Works for me.
yeah.
So you said.
Start with you, Chief.
45 is,
For you, work for me.
you want to do 35 for now, though, like he was saying, or are you saying do the whole 45? Because we'll know, because
I-
you can do the install until it's warmer. like-
Yeah, but I think,
Well, the
The
install
bits
is
and everything we need
does
for
a cost.
for the
well, the
woodwork.
thing is, with this project, what we're gonna have to do is issue a purchase order, a blanket purchase order, you can issue a purchase order to a vendor specifically, or you issue it to the project account. We're not using one vendor for all these items. So we would need to issue a blanket purchase order, and we would prefer to do that in its entirety. So if we're thinking 45 is a good number, I would highly recommend that we keep the 45.
The bulk of it will be, of course, Hyde Park lumber, but yeah, tools and other things like that.
Right.
And so
have
we're
to
not
be-
gonna issue
No,
$200 purchase order here, or
No, yeah.
$1,000 purchase order here.
no, it should be up
Kind of
to
defeats
the
the
project.
purpose of having the
Yeah,
option.
okay. Sure.
Thank you. John Nolan Pavilion.
That's the roof on it down there, and I don't recommend doing that until in the spring. Guys don't like to work on roofs when it's cold, even though I know some do, but, you know, there's the quality of the work and so on and so forth.
Looks like the next bunch could probably not get done yet, right? I mean, Randy, you had these in here for Living Good, replacing the pad and the stone aggregate walkway over by the tennis courts. That's not going to get done in January, February, March, is it?
Likely not.
Yeah, and I think it's important, again, that we all bear in mind what we're taking out, we're not eliminating from doing. We're just not appropriating for it right now.
Now, yeah, well, that's a good point.
So don't, like, if I take you out, don't get scared. Okay, so now we're down to, we got 3 in for sidewalk and curbs. And that was just general repair of sidewalks and curbs that we were
Yeah,
gonna do?
it's just a placeholder. It's just a placeholder.
Is this, well, let me just ask, when you put that in there, do you mean you want to lay fresh cement, or are we going to do a grind off on part of it, just to level, to remove a trip hazard? That can be done in
Oh, the
cold.
shaving, we're
That can be
still-
done
we
in
do
cold
that?
weather.
Yeah, we don't know yet. We haven't accessed the money, you know.
Yeah, gone around to
So I
see.
think that, to your point, let's keep that money there in
But-
case there's some bad spots we need to grind.
Yeah, we can,
Right.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Pleasant Street head wall near Ball Field 3. Someone elaborate.
Chris, you know.
Look at, I'm doing the side eye, Chris.
That's the stormwater work at the park before the Dogwood Park project starts. So ideally, we'd bid it in February. We probably wouldn't start construction until April, but to go out to bid,
We have to have.
we'd need that amount.
Yeah. And is that something that we put in when we recommended to go for the grant? Was that the
Yeah.
stormwater grant?
Right, right. It was the new pipe and the head wall as one project for that grant.
Okay. And when will we know about that? Like,
They told me first quarter of '24, so as late as March, but hopefully late January, we would know.
well, let's leave it in for right now, if you guys agree.
If we don't get the grant, do we still do the work?
We should, as long as it's done before the parking lot work of Dogwood Park. So if we don't get the grant, we can then strategize, do we want to do it with the park project or do it separately as a street project? So we'll have options. It should be done prior to the Dogwood Park work.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let's revisit that, because we might need to just
Shortly.
backburner that.
Is
When do we
it
find
over
out about the grant?
15,000?
He said
Is that what it
shortly.
was?
That's the budget amount. I think for the grant, I ran the grant up to like 50,000 just to cover us. So
And is that 80/20? Is that what it was?
it's, so they didn't have a match requirement, so I put 5% in, I think. No, let's see. Yeah, it was either 5 or 10%, so we had some skin in the game. But it's like a 90%, like the sort of application is a 90-10, is kind of how I applied for it.
And when do we find out?
They just told me first quarter of '24, so I'm hoping late January.
And who's the grant with?
Hamilton County.
So again, we're not going to just start this work in January, February, March, though.
No, I have to bid it. I
Oh,
will
but
bid
you have
it.
to do it for the bid.
That's
Gotta have
So
the,
we
money
need to-
appropriated to
Yeah.
bid it, right?
Yeah, we need to have it in there, because if we bid it, we need a purchase order.
yeah.
We need to have that there.
Good.
Okay. Let's get to Bill's favorite topics.
What about the parking lot?
No, we got, well, what about
No,
the ones in
that's-
front of that, though?
Yeah.
Well, the chapel, that will definitely not happen until July.
Yeah.
July, August.
Boom.
Yeah.
And you guys have scheduled your meeting with
We're gonna, yeah, we're gonna have a conversation over there, yeah, yeah.
January is what we agreed to, when you guys are gonna schedule that meeting, to have it with them in
It's a
January.
schedule, it's a
No,
schedule.
no, to meet in January.
I think you said schedule.
No. I actually brought my notes with me.
Well, you know,
for the meeting.
I talked to her, I actually talked to her at the tree
You know how when you cats start
lighting.
to fight and you spray
So
them?
that's one meeting right
Well,
there.
that counts. There's already had its meeting.
Yeah, didn't do that, though.
Hey, Rob, I mean, seriously, if you think I'm not gonna meet with you, you.
No, I mean,
know I
we
am.
just need to get it.
Yeah, I know,
just Do it in January.
Yeah, okay. All right. So I lost my place, where are we now?
So
Yeah.
as far as the rest of it for the municipal building, is that first quarter?
The,
Is that your entries?
well, now, it's interesting. I must hate to have to tell this story. The front door and the window, the big window, were all scheduled to go in this past Saturday. But wouldn't you know, there was a particular NFL game that was being played on that Saturday, and those installers were more interested in watching that than they were doing the work.
Wow.
So, Mr. Holloway, possibly you could enlighten us further as to when that was rescheduled?
Michigan.
We believe January 6th.
Well, there you have it. Well, and just so we're clear too, also, because I know there's a little extra money in here for, if there's the hardware issue, that we were a little bit shy on the hardware.
And I think that's what the conversation that you and Allison and I had regarding that $8,000 that was left on that purchase order
Correct.
So,
and getting it, I mean, it's a little less, it's not a lot less, but we closed the purchase order.
Correct, but we're
we
recommending to move it into 2024, so the total cost hasn't changed, it's just our spending in 2023 isn't what we anticipated to be.
So how much do you think in 2024? Is this 7,000?
I think there's $8,000.
$69.50.
Yeah, but
Okay,
we
so
have
7,000's in there,
we
okay.
have a little bit of leeway in case there's an oops that's discovered during the install.
well, and that's the front door and the big window. What about the three
It
windows?
includes this- the windows in the
It
office.
it includes that install as well?
That's correct.
Okay, okay.
Bottom line, we keep it in here.
The seven,
Bottom
the
line,
seven.
The 7.
Now, there is a chance that the Bengals are playing the Browns.
I was about
And
to
if
ask
the,
that,
and if the
yeah.
NFL flexes the game to that Saturday, I may have to come and delay it another week.
Can you imagine having to work around these conditions? Thank you, Rod.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Got a real warped sense of priority in this room, I'll tell you that.
And the irony is, too, it would have been fairly decent weather, you know, it was still warm-ish.
Oh, yeah, Saturday was not
Yeah,
bad at all.
Yeah. Oh, well, it is what it is.
It is,
All right, so the administration building remodeling, that's the last
oh
on the
no,
list?
let's go to talk about, we got the 7.5 for the roof ceiling.
Oh.
Is that gonna get done in January, February, March?
And is that part of the 75?
No.
Okay.
No, that will not be done
Okay.
in cold weather.
The 75?
Yeah.
Or the 7 point, the admin roof ceiling will not start?
Well, when you're saying ceiling, you mean the roof outside on the building. This
If
is the
that's
ceiling.
what's leaking into,
Yeah. That,
well,
what,
would there be ceiling repair though, because of, I don't know, or is
well, that
whatever
would,
needs to be
that would be
fixed?
part of the remodel in that
Okay.
room. But actually, the 7.5 here that we're talking about, or what I was talking about, is the copper-lined gutter that's over that part of the building needs to be looked at. And I've talked to two, in fact, I called our guy,
Henry?
Henry, to get him to come and take a look at it. I personally, I think that's kind of a big number, but it is copper and it needs to
Do
be,
you want, I mean, here's the thing, if we lower that even by, if we bump the remodeling, well, let's back up and say the 75,000 for the remodeling. Is that gonna be January, February, March? I mean, again, just bear in mind, we're not taking these things
We don't even have a
away.
design yet.
Well, no, and like I said, right, we've had one meeting or two meetings with A359, and she's, we're not even at the preliminary.
Okay,
So-
boom,
So actually, yeah.
Gandhi.
So that gets deferred.
Both of them do, right? The 7.5 and 75, right?
Yeah, at least until,
Yeah.
well, in the spring.
Okay.
Okay, we're good.
Chris, can I ask you another question? So the chapel parking lot, to help us get a more refined number, should we be putting that out to bid with the street stuff? Or?
That would be my preference, but I don't think we're going to know what we want to do with the parking lot until later. If we do, that would be the time to do it, is roll it in with the street work.
Well, hold on a minute. What do you mean we're not going to know what we want to do? I mean,
Well-
how much of it we want to do, or?
Yeah, well, so I thought there was a drainage issue with the parking lot.
Oh, right.
And if we wanted to get that addressed or fixed, if there's not, then we could easily roll it into the
That's
street
further
work.
down though, right?
This drainage issue thing over there, I think, is just basically kind of a misunderstanding kind of a
Oh,
thing.
okay.
I mean, the lot essentially drains down the hill, and there are two catch basins along the western side, of that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, John and I don't know how many times, at least a couple of times, we actually shot those drains over there. And essentially, correct me if I'm wrong here, John, I don't remember there ever being an obstruction. They basically run right out into the creek that's
Okay.
further on down. Kind of a thing. Now, the catch basins themselves, could they be slightly larger possibly, to catch a little bit more? And there was, at one point, there was talk about putting a channel drain across the thing to catch totally all the runoff that would, run down. That's something that you might, that's a possibility. But there's no real drainage issue per se on that lot.
The one thing though, because we got it now too, but I remember back when you were in Health and Rec, we put that berm up around the top part too, though.
Yes.
To help it.
Yeah,
not
to help
come
it.
over the hillside.
So
it's
it would
channeled.
run over exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's up there now, and so we
It's
just
still
want to
there.
maintain that.
Yeah. Well, it's actually busted in a couple of places, I think,
Is
but that could be easily fixed when they do
But
that.
that should be part of the scope.
Yeah.
So if you want, I could bid the parking lot with the street work, put a contingency in for additional curb or inlet,
Yeah.
and go that route.
Yeah.
You
But
could.
then I would bid it in February, so then I guess you'd still need the appropriation done
Yeah.
early.
But we don't need to have, because again, it's one thing if you're doing a grant, but this is not a grant, so we're just, because we can get bids on something and say, oh, too expensive, we're not going to do it, right?
Well, yes.
Versus a grant, when you're applying for a grant, you're like, no, we're in, so we're making a commitment that if we get the grant, we're going to do it, but this is not a grant, so we can just go ahead and ask for a bid and decide whether or not to do the project, right?
Well, having a
That's-
number would certainly be more than helpful,
Yeah.
especially when Brandy and I
Right.
are going to go over there with the conversation.
I know.
But the bid won't be
I'll
back to
agree.
February.
So then you may want to amend
Yes,
the
the
report
Right.
for the next meeting.
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
Yep. That's where we're heading.
Yeah.
got it.
Okay. So you got what you need?
Yeah, I do, but we're still a little off in the permanent improvement limited.
Now, you go to the very top, something happened, the 59.9 that you had in there previously as the cap, at the beginning balance is gone now.
59.9.
It was in the earlier version, and now it's 0.
Oh, okay. Well, then we're
If you,
good.
if you drop that in, you'll be fine.
Okay, we're good.
Can you provide an updated one after the
Absolutely.
meeting? Okay.
Walking spreadsheet.
Absolutely. So let's vote on what we've just recommended.
Kelly, just on the title of this thing where it says capital spending request by department for 2024, can we call it the whatever it is we're calling it?
Temporary?
Temporary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we'll just call it temporary. Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Chris has
Question, if I may. Sorry. So
don't
I
you
have
need-
an earmarker / expenditure for June. So do we just want to wait and have another meeting to, okay,
We're gonna
We'll
have
do
a
the
meeting in March.
permanent improvement budget meeting in March,
okay.
because we'll
So I
have a
can bring it
better
up
handle
then.
on our actual resources at that point in time.
Okay, very good. I'll bring it back up then.
Okay, please do.
What?
Okay.
So it's not in this list?
No, it's the Columbia connector. so it's not Mariemont, so this is the ODOT project that's coming.
Oh, you're talking about for the survey work?
Right.
Yeah, the survey work, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, that's not going to be done this,
It's certainly not done in this quarter. I mean, I was gonna ask for 15,000 in June for survey work we have to acquire the property, cut it, and then.
Right.
appropriate it.
yeah, okay.
Okay, so we
Okay.
need a motion and a second to approve
Need a
this.
mo-
I move we accept the preliminary
Projected.
projected capital spending.
The temporary
request-
preliminary?
Temporary
Preliminary.
capital spending request by department for 2024.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Ayer,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight,
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin,
Aye.
Mr.
Get a
York.
vote?
Huh?
Aye.
Yeah, well, I guess you can.
I don't know.
Yes, you're still on
You're a
council.
twofer.
You're still a member.
I'm so
Clock's
confused.
ticking.
Okay, so we adjourn.
Oh, we adjourn this and then we're
Yeah,
going to
well,
go into council.
we're adjourn this meeting. Does anybody need 5 minutes?
What am I gonna do with all my, oh, wait a minute,
Can we
yeah. I saw the packet, yeah.
Can we start a meeting that we put on the calendar at 6:30?
No, it
Yes.
said immediately following.
We did, okay.
Yeah, we said. All right, we're recessed for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I know you,
Yeah, we said we were going to go straight into it.
they're getting.
Works for me.
Fascinating.
All right, call to order.
Down to the side.
Please join me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's really interesting.
All right, on roll call, Mr. Ayer,
Here.
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Here.
Did anybody call?
Yes.
Marcy?
I called and it went straight to report.
No? Okay.
You think we-
Mrs. Rankin?
I am here.
Mr. York?
Yeah.
All right.
So we need a motion and second to excuse her for now.
Yeah, I guess we do. A motion and a second then to excuse her.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, any question regarding the minutes from the November 27th meeting? No? All good?
Good, good.
Motion in a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Can I do all the so moves
You can
tonight?
do all of them.
Thank you.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett? Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Well, it's out of order. It's good to be up. Mr. York?
Aye.
All right. All right, in communications, Chief, we have your report. Any comments, remarks, any questions regarding the Chief's report?
Not here.
None? Somebody, it looks like somebody sent you a nice letter on the back here, Chief.
Yes, sir, they did. And I also wanted to, one of our goals this year was to try to reduce our thefts, and looks like we're on track to do that, so, yeah, that's a good thing. Overall, having a pretty good year, really. I think, the numbers that we set our goals on, we've pretty much reached most all of them, so it's been a good year, police department.
To what do you attribute being able to reduce thefts?
Just more proactive patrol and, being visible. So that's, I mean, it's really about the only thing you can do to try to reduce them, but, that was a goal that we set last year, so,
It's excellent.
for this year.
Well, it's a good year for the village, too, to see that those numbers are declining like that.
Correct.
That's, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. All right, any other questions regarding the report? No? All right. Well, we have, I guess, what is going to be the very last report from Mr. Scherpenberg. John, let me just say, too, before you make comments on that, we had the little send-off for John in here a couple of days ago. Very, very well attended. I thought it was very nice.
Very nice, thank you.
And got a very nice proclamation, extremely well read.
Very well written.
No typos.
Thank
All
you.
right. Any comments about the report?
Nope, nothing at this
Any
time.
questions about the report? All right, John, we're going to miss you.
Thank you.
Going to miss you.
John.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Can I say something there?
Sure, of course you can.
Just, I just want to comment as the police fire chief and all the years that I've worked with John and the service department, and, I mean, just the working relationship, second to none, and John, we're going to miss you for sure. Been a great friend and a great a partner to work with, and just wish you all the luck in the world.
Yeah, amen.
You're here.
Yeah.
John's buying, right?
Well, the 14th was my date where I was buying.
All right, moving on. Tax Administrator, Mr. Barlow, any remarks, any comments, any questions regarding that report? No? No? Yeah, but I would say collections are on kind of a good track here, correct? Yes. I mean, at least into and through the finish of the year here, right?
Yeah, actually, it's amazing, a different fourth quarter than last year. At the end of, well, through business today, we're up 330,000 over last year. In fact, even the net collections are over what was projected for the gross collections, even after refunds. So yeah, it's pretty good. I think we're gonna carry over right around, probably about 300,000, so.
Yeah. And what do we attribute this to? Is it just that the economy's better than we
The
thought? More
economy's
people are
better.
back to work?
Excuse me. Withholding, like I said, the end of last year through probably April, mid-May, I was probably getting 3 or 4 new withholding accounts a week. Now that has slowed down, so we'll see where we're going forward. I'll go ahead and plug now for projecting forward. I would stay probably level with what we collect this year. I always like to do that anyway. I don't like to get too aggressive because it's a lot easier to appropriate more at the end than it is to find out we got to
Sure.
cut. So,
Sure.
so where we end up at, 2.8 and change probably. I don't know if we'll get to 2.9 or not. Yeah, it's been a good collection year.
Been good.
And folks are just complying. So
Oh, great.
We
All right, all right.
don't have to send a lot of second letters.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Fiscal Officer Rankin.
You didn't wait. Are we
Yes,
talking
Rod.
about the report?
Is it, oh, I didn't, I thought Rod had sort of, sorry, I didn't see you back there. Rod, do you have commentary on your report there? Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Not much commentary on the actual data on the report, other than I think Randy has included some information on rental certificates, because you can see this past month we had 0, the month before we had 2, so they've really kind of trickled to a halt. Is it appropriate to discuss this now?
It's part of the report, sure.
Part of the report, yeah, sure, and I know that this is going to be a problem, or it's growing into one, so.
Right, so I think there was a note drafted that was sent, I think, as part of the package that looked for some input on a recommendation, which is to somehow ratchet up the enforcement, because if not, we'll be sitting here in June of 2025 and not be in compliance with our ordinance and no plan in place.
Do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, the suggestion was outlined in here, so I think we should send another note out, not to say that, hi, how you doing, but we're gonna start with the inspections in plain view, and we're gonna start citing individuals for defects relative to the International Property Maintenance Code, and then give them a timeline of how things should be inspected, and in general, hold them accountable to the results. This does not necessitate or give them a rental certificate, it's just they're fulfilling the plain view requirements. I think separately, we could have a discussion with Ed, so what happens? Because in theory, we're doing this so that at some point they do file and get a rental certificate by 2025. If not, they'll be out of compliance as well. So this is really just the start, telling them we've taken notice, you know there's some obvious defects on your property, they need to be corrected, and this is why. So that's sort of outlined. I put together a draft of the village and identified some of the bigger owners that haven't created a single application yet. So I have the names of those people. We've randomly done some looking, selected different properties on different historical streets, south, north, different architectural groups. I think I identified somewhere between 12 and 15 properties, and I'd start with them. I think that'll be enough. And given the people that we're going to be, I'd say, poking in terms of getting on with it, I think we're going to get some interesting learnings out of it.
Are the,
Sorry. Let me understand this. If we do a visual inspection and we don't see a defect, we don't see anything, then are we going to, will they then be issued a?
No.
No, okay, I want to be clear on that.
No.
Okay,
But I would say there's a high likelihood, given the target properties that we've selected, that we're likely to find at least a few defects in plain view that will need to be corrected.
and that will, then a follow-up letter then by you will be sent outlining what those defects are.
The defects will be, and they'll be given a certain amount of time to
time,
correct those
yeah.
defects before they'd actually be cited.
Okay,
And I think we also recommend this note, any correspondence we send to them will be reviewed by Ed before it gets sent out.
Okay.
I'm sure Chief Hines would also probably want to look at it as well, because like I said, some of the people we're poking, I would anticipate this is going to cause some enforcement issues.
Well, let's just hope that, a gentle reminder with a letter in the start is enough to prompt people to basically comply with what is essentially, a reasonable request. It's a reasonable ordinance, and, it's the kind of thing that if we wish to maintain any standards within this village at all, we have to do this kind of thing.
Well, I don't think at this point it's coming as a surprise to anyone. I mean,
Well,
we've been
I
talking
don't know.
about this.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not a
a lot of
secret
things
that we've
slip
been-
people's minds and all of that kind of thing. I'm
Oh,
just
I
saying.
understood, but
Yeah.
And there was,
Well, I had no idea isn't gonna,
yeah, I did have a meeting with CMC about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I got the impression that because some of the ordinances have lapsed in the city of Cincinnati, I think there's a general belief that most municipalities are giving up on these rental certificate programs. So I think that's part of the guidance we'll need from Ed as well, is what do we do? But I think this is the only way to try to get us back on track, because we're off track. Like I said, we've 83 in probably 15 months since this ordinance has been in place. So we're off track of that 130, 140 target we'd hoped for the first year.
Sure.
So, I mean, do we need, I support what he's saying here. I mean, is there anybody else who has an issue?
Yeah, I think what you're looking for, and I, as you know, I've been involved with Rod on this, and we had a few, and I will tell you, our outreach has been exceptional. We've had 3 meetings, a lot of correspondence, and we just haven't had the results. I think that by doing this, we turn up the heat a little bit and show them that we're serious about this, because we have an obligation to our renters to do this,
Well, and to the village as a whole.
and to the property values of the village.
Yeah.
We have had a few owners that have done all of their properties, and we've actually had a few owners that, as properties become vacant and it's convenient for the inspection to occur during that time, they've scheduled it and worked with us. But like I said, there's a certain management group that has 20% of the properties, which is about what we got so far.
Right.
That has done 0.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the things we'll have to address.
What percentage of the targeted property owners are in this area?
Can you clarify what you mean by use area?
I mean, local.
I would define it as local, but obviously
I think with the exception of, well, even CMC has roots in Sharonville, I think. I think all of them I would characterize as being greater Cincinnati area.
okay.
There's a few odd addresses that I think get tagged up in New York City or investment people, but they're not the ones that are owning 30, 40, 50 units in the village. All those folks are reasonably close to the greater Cincinnati area.
Could you take a moment and walk me through the steps that occur should somebody be out of compliance in June 2025?
I have my idea of what I would do, but that needs to be discussed, I think, with Ed and the chief to agree on how we're going to do the actual enforcement in June of 2025. I think if there's a few people that are missing, let's call it that, I think it's one response. If it's 80% of the village is not responding, it's probably a different response.
And then could you share any insight you have as to why the city of Cincinnati has given up on these?
I don't have the details yet. I don't know if Chris, I'll put you on the spot. If Chris has any details,
It's not clear.
I think I did a quick little search. I think it just deals with the manpower required to execute a program like this. Obviously, it's going to generate a lot of issues and follow-ups and stuff, and I think it just became too big for them to effectively manage.
Okay.
That's kind of the gist of what I got, but I could have a better answer for the next council meeting.
I do know there are other municipalities who are very tight on this, who run a very tight ship, do their inspections, very stringent about having to meet the requirements and so forth. I had experience with one, with Springdale myself when I.
Springdale?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
What is the time, Does council need to be involved in any way in supporting what those next steps in June 2025 are? Or is that something that I'm not clear kind of?
I would think so, but I'm not recommending anything in June of 2025 yet. I think the actions we do now
Sure.
will hopefully make June 2025 either less of an issue or non-issue.
Okay, thank you.
But as far as, I mean, just as Rob mentioned and Randy's, we fully support what you're suggesting. Is there anything that we as council should do officially?
Well, I mean, I think obviously you were showing support. I mean, unless you want, I mean, if you want, I'll call the roll on it or something like that. We can, show support that way. But I believe Rod working out what next steps will be with Ed is probably the next best appropriate step.
Okay.
I think actually he has in here what he's
Yeah,
got some of the next
Yeah.
steps.
I
so-
think it's
Okay.
at this point, are we comfortable with this?
Yeah.
Do we approve of it, and at what point do you
It's
start?
the external, so the next step, if I understand, let me play back.
Next step is I will draft a note for Mr. McTighe to review and approve. I can bring it back to council one last time if they'd like to see it.
But the thing, you're gonna do external reviews, right? And that's
External
the-
only, that's
yeah,
correct.
Yeah, and then you'll be able to, and anybody who's.
Right,
not
now we could
compliant-
do internal, and our ordinance does allow us to do internals if we receive a complaint. We ask the owner if they're okay with us, and if not, we could seek to get an administrative warrant for a search. But that's a lot of work, and I think what we're suggesting now at this point is just randomly select from the group of people that haven't applied for any, in the spirit of, hey, you need to get all your units done in 3 years and you've done none. Get to at least a third in this first year, or close to it, so.
But Ed reviewed this memo, and, it didn't present any exposure for the village by doing it. So I think at this point, we can say, yes, if it's agreeable to other members of council, yes, we can move forward with this, with the Plainview site inspections, and based upon your recommendations.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize Rod to proceed with his plan described in his memo of December 5th, 2023.
Second.
Can I ask a point of clarification? Do we need a motion?
I don't know.
Well, it's just basically, I think we're
It's a
just
show
sort of, what,
Does it
solidifying
say-
support.
I don't want to set precedent that you need a green light to do this. If
Right.
it's-
Yeah.
That's
Right.
all.
That's a good point. I don't know that we need it or not.
Well, I mean, you can just have a simple show of hands. I mean, do we support
I
this?
think we're all
Yes.
agreeable to this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Go, Rob.
Unanimous
Yeah.
that we support this?
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
That's all we need.
All right. All right. Thank you, Rod. All right, Ms. Rankin, you're up.
About what?
Well, any questions regarding her?
Any questions that you have regarding this? I'm more than happy to field your questions and get back to you with an answer.
The only
When you feel
question
you
I
have
had
time.
is on the Dogwood Park project, on your recap of that account, it's not consistent with what I have, but we can
We can sit down
We
and do
can
that.
look at that, and I did include, there was a Kleinger's invoice this month, and I included that in what I had. So we're off by 14,000 or so.
All right,
so I
let's
just
sit
wanted-
down and take a look at that. Happy
We'll
to-
figure that out.
Was it, you mean a new invoice?
Yeah, it was
Well, you don't have to tell us now. It's just,
1588. It's in the, to pay the bills.
oh, okay. All right.
Oh, it's in pay the bills, so it hasn't been paid yet.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anything else? Any questions? No? All right, John, I believe we've already said thank you. We've covered you. Once again,
Are we
Yeah.
kicking him out?
no. Just make sure you take my call.
He's already blocked it.
Yeah, I know, I'm already blocked, right? All right, moving on. Permission to address council. Anyone back there wish to speak? No? 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 All right. All right, motion to pay the bills. Any question regarding the bills? I think they were all,
And you'll note, we did do the final payment to J.K. Muir for the tennis courts. They came out and
Came
did
out
some
and
additional repairs.
Okay.
In the Hiawatha too, right? The final one for Hiawatha.
Yeah, well, I just signed that today to authorize it.
But I think it was listed in here though, too.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it is listed, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's a,
All right, so, motion and a second to pay the bills, please.
So moved.
Mr. Air?
Seriously?
Huh?
second.
Just a second. Mr. Air?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, let's pay those bills. Okay, committee reports here. Looks like we've got a couple of committee reports.
So I guess I'm first.
Yeah, I think you're first, Rob.
Okay. So the Finance Committee met on Tuesday, December 12th, 2023, at 4 p.m. in council chambers to discuss the annual salary increases for Mariemont employees in 2024. Present at the meeting were Finance Committee members Rob Bartlett, Kelly Rankin, and Marcy Lewis. Also in attendance were Chuck Barlow, Joni Van Pelt, Allison Urig, Rick Hines, Bob Van Stone, and Ben James.
Was I not there?
Why didn't I list you? Let's amend that report. You were there. You were definitely there. My bad. I'm
No,
sorry.
no. It's fine.
So Bill was definitely there. So the salary data was collected from a number of neighboring communities of similar size to see how Mariemont's salaries compared for different roles. The goal of the committee is for Mariemont's roles to be in the middle of their salary range. To be clear, the salaries that are being voted on establish the maximum pay for each role and are based on what the marketplace is paying for that role. The salary ranges are not indicative of the performance of the person in the role. The direct manager is the person who manages the individual salary based on performance using the salary ranges and the annual bonus. Attached are two documents which show where Mariemont's maximum salaries stand relative to the other communities, as well as an attachment with the proposed increase in the maximum salary for each role. For full-time and part-time employees, the Finance Committee is recommending a base increase of 3%. For those roles that were not in the middle of the salary range, adjustments were made to this percent increase to move the roles closer to the average. The salary changes in the attached were unanimously approved by the committee. These changes would go into effect with the second pay period in April, which would start on April 14th, 2024, respectively submitted Rob Bartlett, Marcy Lewis, Kelly Rankin.
Is that the signed, do the sign report?
Well-
I got two.
That's fine.
Yep.
So, Thank you.
I just got a text from Marcy. Unfortunately, she took ill this afternoon, and she's apologizing for not making it, so she will not be showing up the remainder of the evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
She can sign later.
For this, for Dan's stuff. So there's,
For him, 3%.
yeah. So there was, we had to make a change to what I submitted. Remember
Yeah.
I had it incorrectly about what the assistant fire chief's pay was versus what's in the actual ordinance.
Yeah, it would be increased by 3%.
Yeah, so it's gonna change what's in this to, yeah, increase it by 3%, so. I think that was the only change that I had then for that,
Yep, I think everything else is spelled out.
yeah,
It's on the assistant fire chief.
yeah.
Assistant fire chief will be 3% increase on his salary, yeah.
Left on.
So that was a change we had to make versus what was discussed in the meeting, so.
All right, any additional discussion about the report? No? Y'all good?
What,
Susan?
what are the communities that we,
So for police, Rick, it's actually in these attachments here.
thank you.
I'm gonna look at that. So,
Yeah, right here, okay.
so those are for the village office roles, and then for the police and fire, Rick reaches out to his counterparts and gets it from a,
Yeah, what is it, 7 comparable
Yeah.
communities.
yeah. So those are the ones that we compare with.
Thank you.
We all good? Motion and a second to accept.
I'd like to move that we accept the report as amended with the correction for the assistant fire chief.
Second.
Mr. Air?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, that report is accepted. Matt, I think you're up.
All right, on December 14th, the Safety Committee met at 5 p.m. Present were Safety Committee members Matthew Ayer, Rob Bartlett. The committee discussed the opportunity to apply for a Waste Reduction Innovation Grant. with Hamilton County to purchase and install a water bottle filling station at the pool. The grant requires a 25% local match. The total installed cost for the unit is between $2,000 and $3,000. Matt would firm up an estimate for the installation before preparing the grant application for signature by the mayor. The grant has no firm application date. It is a rolling grant with awards given continuously with available funds for qualifying projects. However, submitting an application immediately will help make it possible to install the unit for the upcoming season. For that reason, it is recommended to pass a resolution as an emergency. The committee recommends applying for this grant. Respectfully submitted, Matthew Ayer, Rob Bartlett.
Okay, you've heard the report. Any additional discussion? Any questions?
No?
No? It's fairly straightforward. Well, sorry,
She's waiting for you to ask for motion.
oh, could I have a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Ms. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, we'll accept that report.
December 12th, 2023, the Safety Committee met at 5:30 p.m. Present were members Matthew Ayer, Rob Bartlett, and Randy York. The Safety Committee unanimously agreed to recommend to Council the adoption of the Pool Commission's suggested rates and to have legislation prepared for the December 18th meeting. The Pool Commission is planning to commence its membership drive beginning in January. For that reason, it is recommended to pass the ordinance as an emergency. And below that is a table with the recommended rates. There was something that I neglected to tell Joni when I submitted this report, and that is in the current ordinance, we have a line underneath that has numbers of daily passes that come with each type of membership, and and the Pool Commission recommended, and we talked about that in the meeting, that we're going to remove, you won't get daily passes with your membership. The daily passes will be purchased separately. So when we get to the resolution, I'll be asking if we can amend it to remove one line.
Okay. Any additional comments, commentary, question? No? Could I have a motion to accept?
Did I already move? I'll move. So moved.
Second.
Second. Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, I think we have one more
Thank you.
report.
Permission to speak?
When have you ever asked me for that? Please proceed.
The Public Works and Service Committee met on November 30th at 4 p.m. to discuss recommendation of street projects to go to bid for 2024. In attendance were committee chairperson Kelly Rankin, committee members Rob Bartlett, Randy York, councilperson-elect Bob Van Stone, and village engineer Chris Erdl. Discussion was had to submit the previously recommended 2024 road projects for bid. Also, building administrator Ron Holloway had submitted photos regarding issues with various street conditions. Mr. Erdl requested time to review these conditions before making recommendations. The committee recommends village engineer Chris Erdl request bids for the following 2024 street projects. 1, Pocahontas from Hiawatha to Worcester, Grove Avenue to be shared with Columbia Township, Pleasant Street stormwater repair, and significant street damage deemed needing repair as recommended by village engineer. Legislation will need to be passed on an emergency in order to allow sufficient time for the bid process. Respectfully submitted, Kelly Rankin, Rob Bartlett, Randy York.
Is that the sign?
No, I need to take it across the hall.
Okay.
Any discussion, please?
Well, this is the one we're gonna need to amend, right? We're gonna add the chapel.
To do the chap, yeah.
As a fifth item there.
Or you mean the report or the resolution?
Well, both.
Yeah.
I think you'd wanna have both
Both.
match.
Okay, so
So we're gonna amend
do you know
it.
how, do you have the wording?
Can you amend, did it happen, was it, this is just a point of clarification. Can you amend a committee report if it wasn't discussed in the committee?
Well, we're discussing it now.
Understood.
Yeah.
I agree.
And we actually
We're
have
just-
done that. We have, when we
I
have.
believe.
So we're allowed to amend committee reports if they weren't in the committee itself.
Well, because it's before full council now and the public, I mean,
Okay.
I believe.
Then I'm in.
Because
Okay.
I don't think it was an oversight or an error, but something that we've recommended since the committee meeting, but bringing it to full council for
That's a
discussion.
good question.
Good question.
That is a good
Too bad Ed's
question.
not here.
It did-
I say that we can do it, and that, you know, should I be in error about that, I mean, we can, you know, I guess, do
We
something.
can always change the
Yeah,
resolution.
later, but
Right, yeah, I didn't know.
I
It
think
felt
we
like.
meet
a-
the criteria, though, for doing it, basically,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Unless somebody out there has an objection to, okay. So do we have the wording for the, how you want it to be amended?
Yeah, to amend the report to include getting bids for the chapel parking lot.
Parking lot? Okay,
Just
So
add
it
number-
could be
number five, just
number five.
Number 5.
yeah, okay. All
Chapel
right.
Park.
Does that give you enough to go on?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I don't have an estimate on it, so it's for another project, so.
okay.
Okay, so a motion and a second to amend.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, a motion and a second to accept
The amended report.
the amended report, sorry.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mr. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
Okay.
Not immaterial things, but this is material.
And that's all the reports, right? I'm a little confused here, I don't want to go back. We already did that, didn't we?
Yes.
All right, moving on to miscellaneous. Leaf season will end this week. Not necessarily today, but this week. So this is the last chance to get those leaves out, and we will be around and collect them. Correct? Yeah, not going back.
You're done.
All right. Village offices will be closed Monday, December the 25th, in observance of Christmas, of course. Village offices will be closed Monday, January the 1st, that's 2024, in observance of New Year's Day.
Okay, are you ready?
All right, moving on to resolutions, and I'm going to ask you all to bear with me a little bit here. We have a bunch of these to get through, a couple of emergencies. But we'll-
Okay, this is third reading to reappoint Louise Schomburg as a member of the Parks Advisory Board for the calendar years of 2024 and 2025.
Motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, this is the third reading to appoint Alicia Stock as a member of the Pool Commission for the calendar years 2024 and 2025.
All right, motion and a second to put her on.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
Okay, this is the first reading to appoint Tim Wiley as a member of the Pool Commission for the calendar years 2024 and 2025.
All right, we'll have the second reading in the first part of the year, next meeting.
Okay, this is the second reading to appoint Dave Middleton as a non-voting member of the Tree Advisory Board for the calendar years 2024 and 2025.
Okay, I think we all, any discussion about that? I think we all know Dave. Yeah, I think he'll be a good appointment.
Yes.
Any other comments? No?
Good move.
Yep.
Okay, this is the second reading to appoint Larry Gray as a voting member of the Tree Advisory Board for the calendar year 2024.
I know, and I know Larry's been working, on that. He's very good. Any other comments? He's a good guy.
Yeah, but he's not a very good neighbor.
Not, ooh, you sure you want that on?
Oh, I want that on
Moving on.
record.
This is
Okay.
the second reading.
Yeah, it's the second reading. We'll have the third reading next council.
This is the second reading to appoint Steve Pipkin as a non-voting member of the Tree Advisory Board for calendar year 2024.
All right, I think we all know Steve. Make a wonderful addition. Have the final reading next council.
All right, this is the second reading to reappoint Marion Prue as a non-voting member of the Tree Advisory Board for the calendar year 2024.
Again, second reading. Any comments about Marianne. I think she'll make a great addition. We'll have the third reading next time.
All right, hold on, let me switch tapes. Okay. All right. This is the third reading to enter into contract with H. Hafner and Sons Incorporated for brush, gravel, dirt, construction fill, and leaf dumping in consideration for money and the right to farm part of the south 80 acres.
Okay, that's the third reading. A motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
You seem to be doing all the motion.
I am, I got to get it out of my system.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right. They're on.
Okay. This is the first reading, a resolution authorizing the Village of Mariemont to apply for a 2024 Saving America's Treasures Set, a federal grant for the Family Statuary Project, and to declare emergency.
Okay, on this particular one, given the circumstances that have sort of unfolded around this, I basically think that at this time we should just table this.
What? Is it-
Well, because they're not going to be proceeding with this now.
Oh.
And it will come up again, I mean, the application will come up again the first part of the year when they can more accurately collect together all the information, so on and so forth. And I believe there were certain, I don't want to go into it right now, but there were certain wording in there that I think might need to be altered, but we'll bring that forward next year. So a motion and a second to table it.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll just table after first. Okay. All right, this is the first reading. Resolution approving grant application with Hamilton County Solid Waste District for a water filling station at the Mariemont Pool and to declare an emergency.
All right, we've had the first reading. I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, maybe you have the second reading.
Resolution approving grant application with Hamilton County Solid Waste District for a water filling station at the Mariemont Pool and to declare an emergency.
All right, any discussion on this? I mean, I think we've already kind of been through. Matt, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Nope.
All right, resolution approving grant application with Hamilton County Solid Waste District for a water filling station at the Mariemont Pool and to declare an emergency.
All right, a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, I need a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. This is the first reading to authorize the solicitation of bids for 2024 street repairs and to declare emergency.
All right, we've had the first reading. May I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading, please?
We need to amend.
Well, I think after the second, right? Second reading.
Yeah, during
okay.
the,
All right,
yeah.
thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Oh, you missed out.
Jiminy
Jiminy,
Christmas.
boy, I tell you.
Asleep there.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
And Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, may we have a second reading?
Okay, to authorize the solicitation of bids for 2024 street repairs and to declare emergency.
All right, this is the second reading, and we want to go ahead and make that change
Yes, at the chapel parking lot.
to, yeah. Yeah. All right, motion and a second then to make the change.
So moved.
Are we,
Second?
we're all clear on the change, right? I mean, it's just, it's a question of
We're just adding one.
another line,
Yes.
basically, for the parking lot.
Yes. to
Mr.
mirror-
Ayer?
To mirror
Aye.
the report.
Yeah, Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight,
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin,
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
May we have the third reading?
To authorize the solicitation of bids for 2024 street repairs and to declare emergency.
All right, a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
This is the first reading, a resolution to update swimming pool fees for calendar year 2024 and to declare emergency.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I lost my place here for a minute. A motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
May we have the second reading?
Resolution to update swimming pool fees for calendar year 2024 and to declare emergency.
Okay, I think we've already been through the discussion here. We all clear
But
on
we were
those?
going
We're
to,
changing it.
Yeah, I'd like to amend the resolution to remove the line that has the, that has the guest passes, the last line of the table.
Just remove that completely.
Free guest passes with membership, gone.
okay.
Okay, a motion
No
and a
more fuel
second.
points.
Second to amend.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, may we
Okay.
have the third reading?
Resolution to update swimming pool fees for calendar year 2024 and to declare emergency.
All right, a motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, a motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause, please.
So moved.
Second.
We're getting pretty quick over there. Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
It's my last chance. I got to get it in.
That's your last chance, got to get it
My
out of your
last chance.
system. All right, I think what, we're down to the very last one here, folks?
Phew, I'm getting exhausted.
This is the first reading, ordinance amending certain provisions of the village income tax code to wit sections 98.01 at sequence, is that what that means? Okay. Of the Mariemont Code of Ordinances and to declare emergency.
All right, we've had the first reading, a motion and a second to suspend the rules and allow for the second and third reading, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
Okay, this is
Second reading, please.
ordinance amending certain provisions of the village income tax code to wit sections 98.01 at sequence of the Mariemont Code of Ordinances and to declare emergency.
All right, this second reading, I mean, does anybody want to get into a long-winded discussion of what this is about?
I'm assuming this is just all the underlying stuff there are the changes, is that right, Chuck? Because
It's
just
to be
follow
compliant
whatever
with
they-
House
they-
Bill 33.
yeah, they mandated what you got to put in there, right?
Yeah, there's some verbiage corrections. The JED Z didn't apply to us. Under 18 doesn't have to pay taxes. The late fee goes back to pre-House Bill 5. It'll just be 20, is it 20 or 25, can't remember. But it had been, after that, they had made it $25 a month, up to 6 months, a cap of 150. That's gone away now. For those few years in between, they'll still be there. The other goofy ones for net profit returns, their extensions are now 7 months instead of 6. And again, the other ones are just some verbiage, and the losses are coming off anyway, so it'll be normal losses.
But again, they passed this, and we just got to comply.
We just
It's
have
not
to
like,
match
you
it,
know,
yeah. Just got it back.
Yeah,
and
it's an
then-
ROC kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, House Bill 33, when they passed it, that they keep tweaking it, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, this is the third reading, ordinance amending certain provisions of the village income tax code to wit sections 98.01 at sequence of the Mariemont Code of Ordinances and to declare emergency.
Motion and a second to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
Motion and a second to evoke the emergency clause, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Mrs. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Mrs. Rankin.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, that'll pass.
Done.
All right, Rob, you got 3 seconds.
No, no. So, since Kelly's moving off, there's a couple things we need to add to Public Works, though, like the energy aggregation work, because that's supposed to be completed like in August, right, or something like that? Remember the stuff that got voted on and passed?
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, we should add it to the Public Works agenda, right? Because they're the ones who put it on
Right, and
the,
there's a,
because you got to put it out to bid, then we got to make a recommendation
right,
and all that
and they
stuff.
would like to have, on a side note, have
Public meeting?
a public meeting, and have asked if we could do that. When's our first meeting in January?
The 8th.
That day?
Have the public meeting on January the 8th?
Not during the meeting.
No, like right before it.
Yeah.
But it's a requirement.
Okay.
So, but anyway, we need to put it
Somebody-
into the Public Works Committee, because they're the ones who have to complete all the processes, right?
Yeah, it'll be Van Stone will be handling it then.
Okay, and then also the second thing was, we're gonna need to do the waste and recycling for a 1-year contract, so that we can merge in with Center for Local Government for 2025.
Right,
You
we've
co-
signed that.
You sort of prepared a handoff for Bob, though, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we should put it in the agenda for them, because it's something they gotta address in
Yeah,
2024.
yeah.
Just put that out to bid.
Put that.
Right,
So-
right.
Yeah,
We're all set for this coming year, but,
yeah. And then, since Bob and Marcy are both on Planning Commission, one of them has to, because you can only have one council member on there, so one of them has to.
You'll vote in January.
Well, we've
Yeah.
already, yeah, I think that's, we've already,
They'll decide that then?
yeah, worked that out.
Yeah, that's an agenda item for January.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And our job descriptions we were with for Chuck and for,
mine's real close. You and I should spend a couple minutes tomorrow and stamp your approval on it.
Coming along.
and I know he's helping you with that. Hopefully, get that done.
We're good.
We're close on the timeline for both of them.
All right. Anything else?
Just, well, I feel like to offer to Matt too. I mean, if, I'm fine staying on the committees I'm on, but I don't know if Matt, because he had to sort of he assumed what Leah has, and I don't,
Okay,
leave it up to him.
we're not going to talk committee assignments here.
No,
tonight.
just to ask, does anyone want to change? That's all I'm asking.
Well-
Does he want to?
Well, that's a.
We'll get to
that's
that the first part of the year.
January.
Okay.
It's not a discussion for tonight.
Can I clarification to you,
Sure.
the job description and KPIs?
Right.
I just want to clarify that that's what we're bringing forward,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the job description and the KPIs.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Both. Okay.
yeah, it'll be part of it, yeah, so,
Yes.
yeah. Okay, I think, this has been a good year for council, more or less. I'd like to wish everybody, a happy holiday and Merry Christmas and so on and so forth.
I don't get a proclamation?
You're going to get a proclamation in a minute.
I can't believe this. This guy works here for 400 years and he gets one.
I know, and he got a long one,
did-
too. It was my longest one.
Are we done?
It was commensurate. All right, would anyone else like to wish anybody else a happy holiday?
I would like to
Happy
wish
holidays.
everybody a
Christmas.
happy
Okay, Merry
holiday.
Christmas, everybody. All right, we're adjourned.
No big send-off.